Hey PC gamers, welcome back to the PC Gamer chat log. I am Lauren Morton.
And hey everyone, I'm Mollie Taylor.
And this week, Molly and I are talking about game time capsules, which is a Molly idea, right? You were like, let's put together a theoretical time capsule, right? Of like things we would put in, like you did in grade school, right?
Yeah.
Put like a little things, bring something from home, put it in the time capsule. We're gonna bury it in the schoolyard, and somebody will dig it up someday. Does anybody dig it up?
Probably not, no. Yeah, we're not making a real one. We're just making a theoretical one,
Hypothetical,
right?
yeah.
Hypothetical time capsule.
I'm not getting out a shovel. I play crafting games. I'm not actually burying a time capsule. Okay, look, I do enough digging sitting right here at this computer. So this is all just in theory. We're going to pick some things to go in one. But before we get to that part, Molly, what have you been playing lately?
Do I have to repeat myself every single week? I guess so. I'm a creature of habit. That's the phrase. I'm a creature of habit. I am still playing Final Fantasy 14. Come on. I am here to report that I still haven't cleared the entire tier yet. The entire Savage tier.
Is progress been made since last week?
No. I know. I've been busy. It's so stupid. I've been a little busy. As this episode goes out, I will have participated in a fighting game tournament. So I really should have been playing Tekken 8, but I haven't. But that is consuming my time. Just the mere thought of it, the thought is consuming my time. And then, yeah, I just haven't had the chance. To prog through the last fight. I did do the re-clears, and they went very well. You have to re-clear the fights every week, right? So I re-cleared the 3 fights. The first re-clear went terribly, and I was really worried that it was going to be like a trend. But the recent ones have gone really well. The recent ones have gone swimmingly, so I'm really pleased with that. And then I also played the demo for Gauntlets, which it's vaguely townscapery in that you just build stuff with no goal or like in-game financial restrictions. You literally just build stuff. And it's like tile based, so you can like do the terrain, and you can place little houses, and you can give them different colored roofs and stuff like that.
It's like pastel isometric little grid thing, right?
Yeah.
Where you just like plop in their little houses in their neighborhood around, and then they like spawn in to like do things.
Yeah, and I always do this thing with games like this where I have a lot of creative freedom. I think it stems from growing up playing The Sims, where you would just build a giant mansion and then be like, fuck, I've got a giant square box. What the hell do I put in this?
What now?
Yeah, and I kind of did that when I started playing the Gauntlets demo, and I was like, oh my god, this is too much. And then I put it down, and then I went back to it the next day, and I erased everything, and I started with a really small patch of land, decorated that, and then extended it out and built like another patch. And I just did that like bit by bit, and I had so much fun. And there's not a lot of stuff in the demo, but the full game is out now. So I think I'll be picking up the full game and tinkering around with that, because I like building pretty things. Yes. So yeah, I did that a lot. Still raiding, still goofing around in Final Fantasy, but taking a little bit of time to try a couple other things as well.
Nice. I'm also going to be repeating myself a little bit. I'm still playing Fields of Mystria. I'm having a very good time. I talked about all the reasons I was having a good time with it last week, but just to recap, it's another one of those farm sims. It's very like 90s anime inspired. It has these magical girl vibes. You like learn magic spells to like bring rain down on your crops. That's what I've got so far. You're trying to figure out what's going on with this town after an earthquake, and there's a dragon statue that might have a person hidden in it. I don't know what's up with that yet. I really need to make some progress so that the internet doesn't spoil it for me. The internet's going to spoil it for me. I'm going to find out what's up with the dragon that you could possibly romance, but it's okay. That's part of this job. And I love all the dialogue. They're all so cute. I talked about their little D&D campaign that they run at the inn every Friday night last week. It's so cute. I love it. And yeah, that's Fields of Mystria. I haven't actually been playing more of Tiny Life, but I've talked about it on the podcast in the past when I played it like a couple months ago
Mm-hmm.
at this point. And I just finally got the chance to actually write about it on the website last week. And so I haven't been like replaying it, but for the sake of talking about it, that's the one that's like The Sims. It's like the only game like The Sims that there actually is right now. We
Yeah.
know the other ones that we've been waiting for, like, get canceled, are farther away than we thought. Like, where are they? We thought it was this summer. We thought this year was going to be like Life Sim, Life Sim, Life Sim, and it has not.
And it's not.
Hasn't happened that way. But if you're also like, please, what can I do other than The Sims 4, other than going back to The Sims 3 or The Sims 2, just playing an older Sims game, you can play Tiny Life, which is, it's got like, this lo-fi pixel aesthetic. That
Ooh.
might not be for everybody, but I think it's really fun. I had a great time. It has lots of fun sandbox things. It's open world like The
Mm.
Sims 3 is. It has a nice, like, you don't have swatches that are completely tied together in build mode. You can individually pick colors. It doesn't have a color picker, but you can pick the swatch for like the top of a counter separate from like the cabinets. You can pick the swatch for part of a bed, the bed frame separate from like the sheets. So it has some of those nice little features that I really like, and it is just like cute and fun. It's worth actually trying on its own merit, I think. So with all that out of the way, Molly, let's talk about game time capsules.
Yes.
Okay, you tell me where this idea came from, why we're doing this, because you just like all of a sudden you were like, game time capsules, Lauren. This is what we're doing this week, and I was like, I love it. Tell me more.
I don't know where this idea came from in my head. I just, we're always looking for like new and interesting ways to talk about the hobby, right? And it turns out
Mm-hmm.
that gets hard when you've done as many episodes of this podcast as we've done at this point. We've done like, I don't know, like 60 episodes of this
Mm-hmm.
podcast. We've done like a ridiculous amount at this point. So I was like, oh my god, I was like, how can we talk about fun, cool game stuff? And I thought, oh my god, like time capsules, like you say, like we did them. I'm pretty sure I did one. I feel like I have a vague recollection of doing one. I think it's definitely a big thing over your side of the pond, right?
Probably, yeah. I don't know what about that seems highly American, and
I
yet
don't know.
it does. It's like if you haven't actually done one in like, second grade, then you like hallucinate having done it at the very least.
Yeah.
Like everybody's like, yeah, I probably have done that. I probably
That's my
brought a
count.
random thing into school. Yeah, and then
Yeah.
we like made a time capsule or whatever.
Yeah, that's like I'm pretty sure I did one. So normally you would like, it's like newspaper clippings,
Hmm.
like little mementos, things that someone in like 50 years time can go and dig up and they can see a glimpse of what things were like back
Hmm.
when you created the time capsule, right?
Hmm.
So I thought, wouldn't it be fun to do one for PC gaming? Because PC gaming
Yes.
has so many facets to it, right? I think
Hmm.
I was trying to think like if I was to create something for someone to open in 50 years' time and see like what PC gaming was like now, but maybe also a little bit in the past, maybe like in the 2000s and the 2010s, and then now, like if
Hmm.
I wanted to kind of collate that and then give that to someone in like half a century, what would that look like? That's what we're trying to do
Yeah.
today.
We approached this slightly differently, you and I, because that's what you did, and I was like, no, I want to do actually now. Like, I want to do like 2020s, like 2020 to 2024. If like approximately, I want like a snapshot of right now for
Ooh.
However many years
Which I think is how
in the
you're meant
future.
to do it. But I went a
Look,
little
that's
into the
okay.
past.
You were like, it's as if you've dug up a time capsule actually, and you're like, what was in it from 20 years ago potentially, except for a couple things you've picked. Oh, and like they aren't all physical stuff, right? We said this is theoretical because, as we know, PC gaming, very digital distribution
Very
at this
digital.
point.
Yes.
So we aren't full of physical objects. I mean, we could come up with a bunch of like physical mementos. I have a bunch of like, uh, you know, various gaming related books next to me in my office, but I'm like, that doesn't like give the picture of like what PC gaming is. Just like the collector's artifacts are not like what PC gaming is. So I had us get a little bit abstract with it potentially. So on that note, Molly, what game you like one game that you want to put in a time capsule of PC gaming? What'd you pick?
Yeah. I feel like immediately to me, the obvious choice was Stardew Valley, which
Thank you for doing my job for me.
yeah, which I recognize would definitely not be everyone's choice.
Yeah,
I
nothing will be.
think, yeah, I feel like people would argue that that's maybe like a bad choice, but to me, it's the obvious choice. I feel like, for me anyway, when I want to put something in, especially gaming related, because I was kind of thinking as well, I would want something that could still be appreciated, like
Sure.
that far in the future as well, right? So I was thinking something where the graphics will age well. So I thought like Baldur's Gate 3, and I was like, I don't know, what's Baldur's Gate 3 gonna look like to a gamer in 50 years? Is it gonna
Mm-hmm.
look like a friggin' SNES game or something? Like
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what that's gonna look like to someone in 50 years. But I was like, Stardew Valley, timeless aesthetic, timeless
Mm-hmm.
art, infinite replayability. And I think it's one of those games that will hold up. Maybe I'm talking up my ass, but I just think it's such like a great, like, it's such a great example of what can be achieved with so little. I feel like, you had
Yeah.
one person just working on it. Like, it's like I say, the art is very timeless, the music is very timeless, it's very old school but very modern, and I think that that would continue to translate throughout time. I think it's a great PC game in my opinion, and I think people might disagree with that, like as
No,
a
I totally
representative.
agree with you. It's the same reasons that I've argued for things like in our end of year like game of the year awards each year. Like I fought for Valheim. I fought for like oh gosh, whatever I don't know if Phasmophobia ever turned up, but I've like come to Phasmophobia's defense before as well. Like things that might be like I don't think Stardew Valley is particularly janky, but like sometimes things that are a little bit janky, like a little bit you know, held together by shoestrings, like a passion project. I feel like that's so like spirit of PC gaming that like
Yeah.
something that like you're not even sure is going to have an audience and is just like no, this needs to exist, I want it, and then like a whole community rallies around it and it's like oh my god, we wanted this, and like a whole like trend is birthed that was dormant for a while in the case of like Stardew Valley with Harvest Moon. Like Harvest Moon was niche, like everybody was
Yeah.
not playing Harvest Moon games, and then Stardew Valley comes along and suddenly everybody wants more of these, and that's so PC gaming. Yeah, I
Yeah.
love it.
For sure. So yeah, that's my pick. If we could put any game or the concept of a game for
Hmm.
how digital media is now in a box, that's what I'm putting in there.
Nice. I too had the first instinct of like Baldur's Gate 3. Can I talk myself into it being Baldur's Gate 3? And I was like, no, be cooler than that. Pick, we all love Baldur's Gate 3. So I decided to go a little bit more like, I don't know, abstract and pick Hades, which is a game that I haven't played
Yeah.
because I don't play games like Hades. But I love so many different things about Hades. I love the fact that it is like super giant games. I love the origins of super giant games, right? How they until Hades 2, which is currently out in early access, they've never made a direct sequel. I love that they did something different every time. I love that every time like they just keep like making like hit games that you would think at some point they just fall back and be like, let's do what we've done before, which maybe you could argue Hades 2 is that, which is why I picked Hades. I just love every time you think that they're like at their best, they then are like firing on all cylinders and you're like, oh my god, I didn't
Mhm.
know they could be even more, they could do even better. And that's how Hades felt, which is like, again, not something I've even played because I don't like playing like action like run based stuff very often, but I love that it has like all the characters that people enjoy, like the tiny little aside of like romance is in it. There's like a
Yeah.
whole fandom around that section of the game. I love the origins of super giant games. I love that it's this perpetually like relatively small indie studio. It's like if we were to use annoying terms like triple I, like that's what super giant games is. It feels like, at least in production quality. So I love what it represents about PC gaming, the like the mythical success story, the platonic ideal of like indie success and what that looks like staying like true to the things you just want to do as an artist. That's what Hades felt like when it came out, which is like, oh my God, they've done it again. I can't believe it. Look at them just making things they want to make, and they're excellent, like
Yeah.
every single time. So I picked Hades, even though I don't have a copy of it to contribute.
I feel like we had like a similar train of thought behind why we
Yeah.
picked the games that we picked, which is pretty cool. But Lauren, you and I have picked games. But I didn't think that it was fair if the time capsule, if the PC gamer time capsule was only me and you making stuff. So I asked 3 members on our team to pick a game as well. And I want you to try and see if you can guess who picked the game. Okay.
Oh my God, how well do I know PC gamer writers? Okay, this is wonderful.
You're gonna lose because I wouldn't have guessed any of these.
That's a
I would
hint
not
of itself.
Yeah, I would not have guessed a single one of these. Do you want the 3 names of the writers that I picked?
If it's that hard, then yes.
I think it might be hard. It might be.
Okay.
Okay, so I asked Robin Valentine, our senior editor on the UK side. I asked Tyler Culp. I think the associate editor. I asked Tyler Culp from the US side. And then I also asked Cara Phillips, Evergreen writer, editor. I forget her title. I'm so sorry, Cara.
She's
also
Evergreen writer,
Evergreen writer, also from my UK team. Okay, so those are the 3 writers. Okay. And I asked each of them to pick a game. I gave a couple of parameters, but I asked them each to pick a game. Okay, so the first one I have is this person picked 30 Flights of Loving from 2012, which is a game that I have never heard of.
I've heard its name. I don't know what it is, though. Oh, no.
Well, thankfully, I asked them all to also provide a couple short sentences on why they picked it. So this person says, 30 Flights is a spy thriller / love story built on a modded version of the Quake 2 engine. Thank you for the explanation, because I had no idea what it was. Its bold use of surrealist imagery and cinematic techniques tells a surprisingly touching story that illustrates how strong ideas can transcend an otherwise rudimentary aesthetic and scope. And then they said, I'm definitely thinking of all the mods that became great PC games here. Nothing is more PC gaming than 30 Flights, in my opinion.
Okay. That's also very, like, we all have such a this, like, legacy of PC gaming, like, feelings within us on this team.
Yeah, we really do. This person did also admit that it was a bit of a wild card pick. So we have 30 Flights of Loving. Another person on our team picked the Orange Box. So they said, is this cheating? Probably. But this historic box not only contained 5 of the most influential PC games of all time, it also popularized Steam, a platform that still defines our hobby today. So that is the other game going in our time capsule.
And the Orange Box has like Portal, Portal 2, like
Team Fortress. Half-Life.
Yeah.
It has like the
so
classic
it's several Valve games.
Yeah, the classic Valve package. Yeah, that is the Orange Box. And then the last one we have, I think I'd pick Bramble the Mountain King, mostly because it ignited the same fears I would have had as a child and emulated the experience of playing a game you've been told you're not allowed to at a sleepover, except I'm an adult and can make my own decisions.
Bramble the Mountain King. Yeah, that's like a whole little horror atmospheric thing. Ooh, somebody on our team was like relatively into that. So I've got Robin, Culp, and Cara.
Yeah.
I think that the Orange Box is a very Culp pick. That feels like Tyler Culp to me. And then Bramble the Mountain King. I'm going to go like opposite of what I would normally pick, because obviously this weird old like 30 Flights of Loving, that should be Robin. I don't think it is. I think Robin might have been a Bramble the Mountain King advocate, and maybe Cara is like, yo, what about this old 30 Flights of Loving? Like, well, this is what, 12 years old at this point. Kara would have been very young, not even a professional, nothing to do with this career, but like looking back, yeah, I think that's what I'm gonna go with.
So you think Robin did
Bramble.
Bramble, you think Tyler did the orange box, and you think
Yep.
Kara did 30 Flights of Loving. Girl, you're so wrong.
Yep.
Girl, you're so wrong on every count. Okay, so I will admit I asked each person to pick a game from a different decade. So
Okay.
so
Rigged.
yeah. So Robin picked the orange box. Robin,
Okay, all right.
I asked Robin to pick a game from the 2000s.
Uh-huh.
He is the one that picked the orange box,
Okay.
which, to be fair, I think is a fairly Robin pick. Though then again, that isn't anyone on the PC Gamer team pick. I feel like the orange box. Kara picked Bramble the Mountain King. I asked Kara to pick a game from the 2020s.
Okay.
And she picked Bramble the Mountain King, which I don't know how recently that came out. Was that this year, last year? I'm not sure how recently that came out.
I don't remember either. Yeah.
So yeah, Kara picked Bramble the Mountain King. And then it's funny you say you think Robin might have picked 30 Flights of Loving, because Robin called it, I quote, an insane choice. Tyler Culp chose 30 Flights of Loving.
That's so funny.
So those are the 3 additional games that we're adding to our time capsule, thanks to
love it.
Thanks to our lovely PC Gamer team.
You sabotaged me by telling me it was hard.
It was hard.
It was. Oh, I love it. So those are all of our actual games. Like, those are the game picks. What would we put in? And then I said, what about like a physical game? And this was hard because then that's what took you kind of into the past. What did you use for a physical game?
Yeah, because when was the last time you had a freaking disc tray in your PC, Lauren?
In my PC, I was like, oh, what about a Nintendo Switch cartridge? And I was like, you work for PC Gamers, stupid.
This is a PC gaming Switch time capsule.
Yeah, the last time I had an optical drive was 2012. No, yeah 2012, which was 12 years ago.
Yeah, it's been a hot minute, right? Which is, I think, is why my brain was going, why don't we put like a floppy disk in there? Like, just to
really throw it back.
Really screw with people. Like, I'm pretty sure you could probably ask some people now and they would not know what a floppy disk is. So the kids
don't
these
even know what
days.
floppy disks are.
So I was thinking like a floppy disk, but then I was also thinking this is a PC gaming time capsule put together by PC Gamer. Why don't we put some of our old demo discs in there? Because I feel like demo discs were such like a cool gamer thing. Like, obviously they're very redundant now. They do not exist anymore thanks to like Steam demos and the onlineness of everything these days. But like demo discs back in the day, demo discs was so cool. I don't know, and I feel like that, like, just seeing this random ass selection of like, because it wasn't always just demos either. It was like trailers for stuff. Like random like game trailers for something you'd never heard of before, just on this little disc. That's all they were for. And I loved them. I thought they were like the coolest thing ever, especially when you would get a video game, when you would like get a physical video game, and then it would have like a bonus demo disc with it. Oh my god.
Yes.
Be Still My Beating Heart. Oh, it was so good. It was so good. And like some of the games I got into as a kid were a direct result of demo discs, right? I mean, like, I still play a lot of demos. I still love demos, but I feel like back then having someone curate these demos for you, or just like taking money from whichever developer was willing to pay to have them put on a disc. I assume that's how it worked. I felt like it was just such a cool way to try something out that you wouldn't have necessarily played before. So I think even though they're a little old, they're not very 2020s.
No,
I think we should put like a PC Gamer demo disc in there or something. I think that would be fun.
I love the curation aspect, because that's still so important to us, especially in the era of Steam Next Fests with demos in them. It's like we have access to so many things.
Like 600 demos sometimes.
Yeah, having someone come at you and be like, no, do this. Like, half of our job anymore, it feels like, is wading through everything that exists and telling people, like, this is worth your time. I know you're inundated with things all the time. That's me with like Tiny Life. I just talked about. I'm like, I know you would have never found it, but it exists, and I think you should try it. Like that's the active demo disc. It's great. I didn't come up with a very good answer for a physical game because I got stuck on the Nintendo Switch problem, and I was like, can I put my whole Steam Deck in it? Which is not a physical game. That's cheating. That's too much like the next question that I'm about to ask. But I don't know. Maybe a Steam Deck like all decked out, no pun intended, with stickers and like custom thumbsticks and whatever else. I don't know. That's not a physical game. I just was having feelings about handheld consoles and I wanted it to be represented somehow. So the whole Steam Deck goes in somehow. It is a very now thing as well.
Yeah.
Because I was looking at this like 2020 to 2024 kind of snapshot thing, and how, like Steam getting into the console market, big air quotes, again, and people actually own Steam Decks. Sorry to the Steam machine. Yeah, it was like that feels like kind of a big moment in PC gaming. I think we're going to be remembering this moment for a while, of like actually wanting this device to exist and the rollout going decently, and it just feeling like a big new era for a way to play PC games. So yeah, I'm shoving my whole Steam Deck in there.
I wonder if like Steam will even exist in like 50 years time. Could you imagine if it didn't exist anymore and there's just this potential? I mean, it'll be obsolete in 50 years anyway, the Steam Deck, but like I think it'll be interesting to see if like, because gaming is still
itself
relatively
will
new.
be an artifact someday.
Yeah, which like that terrifying thought. First of all,
I don't know. Companies don't die anymore, Molly. That's old.
Yeah, that's
things shamble forever.
Things live. Things hobble along.
Not that we would wish that upon Steam. We're all a little bit too attached to it. That's the truth of PC gaming.
Yeah.
What about hardware? What kind of hardware would you put in Time Capsule that isn't a Steam Deck?
I was thinking about this because you said like hardware or peripherals, and I was like, I don't really want to put like a graphics card in there, or like I suppose like maybe I would put like if it was hardware. Okay, hear me out. I would put a Lenovo ThinkPad in there if it was hardware.
Okay.
So they're like these really like cheap, kind of crusty black laptops. I think they're normally black, and they've got this like little red nub for like a trackpad. Yeah, those bad boys. But I know a lot of people who use them for like coding and stuff. And I'm like, you could probably code a video game on one of those. I assume some people maybe even do code a video game on one of those. So that's what I'm doing for hardware. That was just, right off the dome. But for peripherals, I was thinking more in the peripheral thing. And I was like, what's a cool peripheral? To me, in my opinion, I have two choices. Okay. For me, the coolest peripheral is an MMO mouse.
You're a big proponent of this.
I love my MMO mouse. Buying an MMO mouse is potentially one of the best investments I've ever made in my PC gaming career. It is so comfy. And I just think the idea of a mouse that has like 20 different buttons on it is so stupid.
It's the most gamer-ass thing.
That
is the most stereotype. That is a dream of a gamer, is having a mouse with 1,000,000 buttons on it.
I feel like if you looked at that like 20 years ago, it would look so futuristic. But now I feel like 20 years in the future, it's going to look really archaic. I don't know. I think
cartoonist's impression of a gamer. They have a mouse and there's 1,000,000 buttons on it. How ridiculous is that?
But imagine in 20 years, someone's like, oh my God, your mouse only had 20 buttons on it. Like, what?
Please prevent this future from happening. I can't even handle the buttons I have on the mouse, Molly.
Are you telling me that in 2024, people's mice only had 20 buttons on it? Like, my mouse
What did you
150.
even do? How did you get anything
How
done?
did you even do anything with a mouse with only 20 buttons on it? Like, imagine what, I don't know what mice are going to look like in 20 years. Terrifying.
We won't have them, Molly. It's all going to be like non-screen interfaces. Yeah, it's going to be straight up Star Trek.
I like tactile feedback. But yeah, an MMO mouse is what I'm putting in there. I also kind of want to tap into like streaming as well. Like streaming and PC
Mm.
gaming hand in hand, right? So I was thinking like an Elgato Stream Deck,
Oh, not a
which
Steam Deck, but a
not a
Stream
yeah, not
Deck.
a Steam Deck, but a Stream Deck. It's such a
Hmm.
weird little gizmo. I do not own
It
one,
is.
but it's a very weird gizmo, but it can do so much, right? I know people that don't necessarily even use Stream Decks for streaming. It's essentially a little thing that you can plug in and set up a bunch of macros,
Yeah,
right?
it's like having another keyboard attachment that's just all programmable keys, but then
Yeah.
also like the little lights on it. If you haven't seen a Stream Deck before, yeah, it's this little device that has like I don't know 16 buttons on it or something, and they
Mm-hmm.
all have a little screen inside of them, so you can like put an icon onto the button like digitally and like it do macros with it. Yeah, like
Yeah.
execute certain commands, do things like yeah, people use them for streaming is what it was envisioned for of like scene switching in OBS or like running an ad roll or whatever, just like having buttons for that, but
Mm-hmm.
it can do all sorts of stuff.
Yeah, like I know people that don't even use it for streaming. They use it for like just totally different stuff because it's so handy just to have
Mm-hmm.
a dedicated device with like programmable buttons that you
Mm-hmm.
can like just shove whatever macro you want onto it. I think it's such a cool little gizmo. If I was more financially irresponsible, I would have one. I don't really need one, but I would have one. So yeah, and I think tapping into kind of streaming as well, you know, like I said, streaming is such a big proponent of PC gaming these days.
Yeah.
And I think it'd be cool to put something kind of streaming related in there as well.
Yeah, that's a very nice artifact of like this era. Like
Yeah.
that's such a, it feels like such a transient thing, like the PS2 toy or something,
Yeah.
right? You know, like but then we went on and there was a Connect and that existed, right? And that's like sort of follows that legacy. But look, the PS2 toy, like everybody had one of those weird things.
I
Not
still
everybody had a
do.
Stream Deck. Yeah, and it's just like it's a snapshot of a very specific moment in time that that thing could have would have existed. It's just it
Yeah.
harkens back to an era. I picked with your help. I was like, Molly, help me. What was that thing you talked about a while ago? I was thinking about peripherals also, and I was thinking about keyboards. Keyboards are so expressive of like what people want on their desks. Like, you know, I have changed my keyboard setup
Yes, and it's
recently.
so cute. If you're not
My
watching,
all
if you're listening and not watching, how dare you? It is beautiful. It's
my
such
all
a cool
pink
keyboard.
keyboard with custom keys that have little bear ears on them. I love this. We talked about getting into keyboards like at the beginning of this year, and I finally bit the bullet and did it. Anyway, keyboards are very expressive, like what you want on your desk, what you want to display. It's for you. It's like setting the scene of like how you want to feel at your desk. So they're really important. And I was thinking about you showing me the like Logitech Pop key set. I think
Mm.
earlier this it was a while back, and they have the like lilac colored
Oh,
stuff.
that is so
Like
cute.
it's very modern interpretation of the 80s. Like I don't feel like that lilac color was actually in then, but it's what we think of now as like late 80s, early 90s. Or like, oh yeah, that's so then. And um I don't know if I actually want to put their like the Logitech Pop keyboards where like they have these like round looking keys. Like it looks like a mechanical keyboard version of like a typewriter and it's all purple
Mm-hmm.
and it's super adorable. And that's really specific and really niche. So instead I was like, what about the Razer Quartz line that you showed me,
Yeah.
which is all pink
Which
peripherals. They
I
have all
own.
sorts of stuff, which you have. Is that what your headset? Is that one of the Quartz
Yeah, so
ones?
I have two quartz headsets. I have a quartz keyboard, which I won't show you because it's like hella grimy, and a quartz mouse. I am like a full shill for the
Yes.
quartz collection personally.
And I picked those because look, whatever you think of Razer, it is very synonymous with PC gaming, right? Like I was a Razer girly back when I was an early PC gamer in the year
Yeah,
2003 approximately. I don't remember exactly what year it was, but I had a Razer keyboard because that's what cool gamers had,
that's what all the
and it was
gamers
all
had.
black. All the gamers had it. It was all black. It had their green logo on it because those were the colors that you had if you were a PC gamer. Those are the only colors they make.
You
It
were
was
either
black
black
and
and
green.
green or black and red.
Black and red. Yep, those were the choices. And now in the 2020s, we have more choices than that. And so to me, it means a lot that Razer, the brand that I associated when I was young, when I was a teenager, has this whole line of pink stuff. Like that represents like something now. I love all the many other like companies that are doing like great pink, purple, pastels, awesome stuff. But if I were like to take an artifact and be like, this is what PC gaming is right now, it's Razer doing the quartz line. I'm like, that's the 2020s. The gamer brand is doing pink. The gamers are doing pink. Like this is what we are right now. I want to remember this era of PC gaming. So if I were putting together a time capsule, I'd get a Razer Huntsman quartz.
Yeah.
Is that what you have, Molly? The pink Huntsman?
I originally bought the Huntsman. I think it was the Huntsman Elite. Is that what it's called? I forget what it is. Yeah, I got the pink Razer Huntsman, and then they did a TKL version of it.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I was very kindly sent the TKL by Razer, and that is what I currently use.
I can't live TKL anymore. I had to go back.
I
miss
miss
my compact.
I miss my numpad, but also my old keyboard was very loud, and the switches started to like mess up a little bit. So
Yep.
I'm rocking with the TKL lifestyle.
Okay, so that's hardware and peripheral stuff. What about a trend? Pick a trend in PC gaming that you'd stick in a capsule. Very theoretical, very abstract.
Two. And okay. I'm glad we were talking about keyboards because I would want to chuck a couple like artisanal keycaps in there.
Yeah.
Because, you've just spoken about how you've like changed all your keycaps. But I feel like maybe like during COVID times, like the early, we're still in the early 2020s technically, but I'm thinking like 2020, 2021. I feel like these just crazy,
we're in our
bulky.
mid-20s.
Yeah, we're approaching mid-20s.
We're both in our mid-20s.
No, I meant the year. Like we're still in the early 2020s.
I know.
You're so mean. Yeah, we're in our early 20s. We're totally in our early 20s. Oh my God, what was I saying? You distracted me.
I'm sorry. Artisanal keycaps. It was a big thing in COVID in the early 2020s. It was a huge
thing in COVID. Yes. I feel like my Etsy was just artisanal keycaps. Like these crazy sculpted 3D, like you want to turn your escape key into a glittery burger, like go for it, right? It was just like so many different like types of just these crazy intricate like just little models that you could switch out on your keyboard. And it wasn't meant to be like an entire keyboard redo, right? It was meant to be like just for your escape key or like just for your like function keys or your arrow keys. It was meant to be like very specific.
A little statement piece.
A little statement piece.
Personality.
Yeah, like a little like accoutrement on your keyboard, right?
Yeah. It's like a cell phone dangle. The cell phone dangle of keyboards.
Yeah, a little cell phone strap. Yeah, which I still use. So I think that's definitely something I would want to put in there. Maybe just like a couple of like the weirdest ones that I could find. But also, I think we got to put some RGB in there. We gotta put some RGB strips in there. Like because we're coming out of it now. I think we've been coming out of it for the last like couple of years. It's been
a long exit from RGB life.
I'm still RGB central. I love RGB on my keyboard. I love RGB on my mouse. I'm like they do like an RGB version of like this microphone that I use. It's RGB.
Speaking of black and red.
Yeah, speaking of black and red, it's like,
so bright.
It's like blinding. That's why it's constantly out of the frame. I think the one time it accidentally slipped into frame and someone said that it looked like my face was like on fire or something because it was like red, my face. But yeah, RGB everywhere. RGB in your PC, RGB like RAM, RGB graphics card, RGB fans. Like it was freaking everywhere. And like I said, I'm still all in on RGB. I love a colorful setup. And I think that has to be, I think that will come back around eventually. I think like fashion, I think, free of it. Yeah, I think PC trends like this will be quite like cyclical. I think I think it'll come back around eventually, but I think it'll be interesting to like put some stuff in there anyway, like some RGB RAM or some RGB strips or something. Yeah.
Nice. I went very abstract with my trend. It's not a physical trend. I had to pick cozy gaming, right? Like
Ooh.
what was I gonna do other than say cozy gaming
That was
as
my
my trend
first
I would
thought,
put in?
but I knew that you would do it.
You can't take that from me. I would put that in the time capsule because it does feel really right now, like it's exploding right now in the last like
Yeah.
2 years specifically. And I've talked about it on this podcast plenty before. We've done a whole episode dedicated to cozy gaming. But what I like about it as a PC gaming trend is that so many of our trends are handed to us top down. I mean, you're talking about RGB, right? Like that doesn't come out of the earth. That comes from manufacturers deciding that we're going to do an RGB line, right? And so, well, there's the gaming trend. And so many of our trends are built top down that way of like what publishers or developers are creating right now. And like that is the trend. They set the trends. Cozy gaming is a trend that was set by PC gamers for
Yeah.
sure. Like, and also Nintendo Switch gamers and people that enjoy
And
games
the
on
book talk
other systems
girlies.
and the book talk girlies. But a big part of that was also PC gamers who are coming from areas like Stardew or The Sims or like any other life sim stuff and being like, we
Yeah.
want more of these. Like, and have sort of like absorbed other like genres of games that exist, right? A lot of things are kind of being swept under the cozy gaming label, like puzzle
Call to the
games,
lamb.
adventure games, Cult of the Lamb. Yeah, whoops. I still don't think it's a cozy game, but you can do whatever you want. But so I love that it's like a very grassroots trend. It came from the desire of things that people want, and by like looking for more things like what they're already playing and saying like, we will play these, we will
Yeah.
buy them. Now you're seeing it work in the opposite direction. Now developers, publishers are using that word to market. They're pitching things that are
Yeah.
like fall under that trend. So I love that that's one that like we've dictated, and it does feel very like it's a very right now. It's very, very spike shaped
I agree.
interest. Hopefully, I guess hopefully the backside of it doesn't look spike shaped. Hopefully, it like keeps going up and like levels off. But, like right now, it's very spiky. So that's what I picked for a trend. I would stick that in a time capsule. I hope people of the
Ooh,
future open it and go, "Oh my god, the origins of cozy gaming.
that would be cool.
This is where it all began."
Yeah.
Yeah. What about also good feels? What about like a story about a gaming community?
Okay.
This is also a big part of the hobby, right? Is
Yeah.
the friends we made along the way.
So I was thinking again a little bit in the past because I was like, you have to put the Leroy Jenkins story in there. It feels like one of the first. I mean, there were big community stories coming out from like the Quake scene and stuff like that in like the 90s, right? But I feel like Leroy Jenkins was like the first like pop culture like gaming
hmm
community moment, right?
hmm
That's the wow clip of the guy like but like
Now that
fucking
it's so old, we have to explain
we
it
have to
just in
explain it,
case.
yeah, just in case for some reason someone hasn't heard of it, right? It's that wow clip of the guy that's like fucking throwing himself into battle. Yeah, like screaming his name. It's timeless. I think that is very well deserved. But one that I literally just thought of while we were sat here talking that I
hmm
can't believe I forgot about, because I would classify this maybe like like a gaming community story, is the Near Automata church secret. This was
Oh, you wrote about this, right?
I don't know if I wrote about this actually. I might have. This was like maybe 2 years ago now.
Uh-huh.
Somebody had claimed that they had found like the final secret in Near Automata.
Oh yeah.
I don't think they claimed they found the secret actually. I think they had said, "What is this?" They had like come in with this like mysterious clip where they had done something in the church in Near Automata, and they had like come into like a completely new zone that nobody had ever seen, which is what got started people thinking, oh my god, this is the last secret. And
Mhm.
everyone like banded together trying to figure out like how the hell this guy got there, how like what the hell this area was. Even like Yoko Taro, like the game's creator, was just dead silent, didn't say a single word about this. And it turned out that the original poster was a modder who had constructed this like entire thing and had
Oh, wow.
yeah, and it was such an interesting story. And it was something that no one was really mad about when everyone found out that it was like technically fake. Everyone
Because
was,
that could go either way.
yeah.
People could have been pissed.
But
A
I
fraud.
don't remember kind of the full outcome of it. I think it was like a very interesting progression in modding for that game as well. If I remember correctly, I
Mm-hmm.
could be talking out my ass.
Oh, okay. So it was like a technical achievement in modding, what they've
Yeah,
managed to do.
within that game, I
Mm-hmm.
believe I could be talking out my ass. Like I said, it was a couple years ago, but it was such an interesting story. It was so like, you know, near fans were like what the hell is going on? And
Mm-hmm.
it didn't it didn't like continue for very long. And I think it like right from the get go there was like a minority that had their suspicions. But it was so interesting, and I never like seen something like that before in a game that I've been interested in. So
Mm-hmm.
that was like a really cool like community moment of people trying to figure out this like fake like fake
Yeah.
secret.
The fake secret of Nier. I it was hard not to be just like a total like self-absorbed self promo and pick a community that I've written about, because I've written about some like
You've done some
a
great
bunch of different game
stories.
communities that I've really loved, and of course the reason I wrote about them is because I loved them and thought they were interesting. So like I love, we talked recently about the Dark Souls fashion police. I loved
Yeah.
hunting down that cryptid figure. I loved Sleeps on Bridges, the Argonian character in Elder Scrolls Online, who would like had this whole guild rally around him. I love the
Horse
horse
girls.
riding trail group
Yeah.
of Red Dead Online. I love that as well. And I was like, all of those things could totally be time capsule material. And what I settled on is like not one specific instance of the story that I've written, but still a community that I've written about is Dark Souls speed running. I love so many of the stories that have come out of the Dark Souls speedrunning community, because it's a similar thing, like you said, Molly, of people sharing stories and being like, what is this? How do I reproduce it?
Yeah.
And it's not related to mods, it's related to speedrunning. And there've just been so many great stories of things that they've learned over the years about how to hack Dark Souls games and like, get to the end faster. They do all sorts of wild stuff. One of my favorite stories about that community is the Sen's Gate skip, which you can find on the website that I've written about, talking to a couple people involved with that after it was, I think I saw it performed at one of the Awesome Games Done Quick years. And I listened to the
Ah.
commentary and I was like, sorry, what just happened? We did what now? Because it was like, they glitched through a particular stair, hit a development plane that like triggers the death camera in Dark Souls, but not the one that actually kills you, because those are two separate things. So they trigger the death camera, everything goes like topsy turvy. They can't see where they're going. Like the camera's like way up here and they're way down here. You're like walking. Basically, you clip through a gate because it hasn't loaded in yet while you're in death cam mode, and then you like rest at a bonfire that you can't even see, come back and like everything is right again and I'm on the other side. It's like a magic trick. Ta-da! Like I have phased through the door. It's wonderful. I love that story, and how it came to be was, people seeing a strange YouTube video and being, how do we do this? How do we reproduce it? What's going on here? And then like working backwards and trying to like dissect what's happening in the game. And that's the story of like so many Dark Souls speedrun tricks. Like that's the story of how they learned to like turn off the AI for bosses by doing a particular like weird weapon swapping combo, and like so many other things that go on in Dark Souls speedrunning. So I think if I were like trying to time capsule something, like that particular effect of like the way that the speedrunning community around Dark Souls operates, like so much fun to witness. Like it has its own like lore and
Mm-hmm.
strange qualities. It's like it's very very museum artifacty quality,
Yeah.
in my opinion. I love that community. And last thing was a wild card,
Yeah.
Molly. I said go crazy, pick anything. What do you want to
I
shove in the
well,
time capsule?
I technically my wild card was getting three other people to
Okay, fair enough,
so
fair
my
enough.
wild card was getting three other bozos to do all the hard work for me because that's funny. But you know what?
That's a
Oh my
true
god!
wild card move.
Do you know what okay, wild card off the top of my head, like a USB thumbstick with
Mm-hmm.
like voice recordings of Discord calls.
Okay.
Or like screen recordings of Discord calls where like someone's streaming, just to know
Okay.
what like the gaming lingo, what were the gamers talking about
What was it
to
like
each
to be
other.
in the room?
What was it like to
Yeah.
be in the room with a, again, this is off the dome, baby. I did no prep on this. Yeah, like just put a few Discord calls, put like an 8-hour Discord call on a thumbstick
Yes.
and force the children of like 50 years from now to listen to whatever the hell is going on
I love it. Just compile a clip of my group of 4 friends playing Phasmophobia and screaming and crying, and then
there.
us spending 8 hours, like an entire Saturday, not getting up for anything, playing Valheim. And then what else? Them yelling at Siege. I made fun of that for them recently. I'll do it again, and I won't apologize. That is so fun. I do like that. That is very time capsule. That's very like
Because like
look at how we've
linguistic
lived.
time capsule as well. Like
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
how did the
We talked about
gamers.
slang on a recent
We
episode, yeah.
did. Yeah.
And we couldn't remember the things that we say, so we need
No.
the literal evidence. We need the receipts
We need the
to be
receipts.
given to us.
So yeah, that's my wild card.
Okay. My wild card is another weird one. I want to put Sven Vinke. I'm so sorry. I still have never heard his name said out loud. I should listen to him say his name and how I've never
Mr.
actually
Baldur's
heard it.
Gate 3.
Mr.
Mr.
Baldur's
Larian.
Gate 3, Mr. Larian, the CEO, that guy, his set of armor that he wears to things related to all of their Baldur's Gate 3 patches.
That's a good
His
one.
wacko plate armor that he's worn to different events and their live streams. I'm stuffing that in the time capsule. Because if you've never seen it before throughout Baldur's Gate 3's development, and he probably had it and wore it before. I don't remember the origins of the armor. Never met him personally. But when they were in early access for Baldur's Gate 3, they would do live streams, literal, actual live streams. The developers would be LARPing, like truly LARPing inside a castle. It was all live. It was not pre-produced. It was madness that they were doing this in like 2020, 2021, something like that. I don't remember what the year was. And he would be in his giant suit of armor. There was a cow at one point, and I think I tweeted one year, I was like, I hope I'm still like in this industry, in this career, in like the 2040s or something like that, so I can be like, guys, you weren't there for this, but back in the day, Larian, the things that they were doing was just wacko. You remember when he used to wear that suit of armor? That was goofy. And I would like that as a memento for future gamers to remember that was a thing that happened. Man, what a time. I can't believe they did those shows live. What a goofy. There were technical issues. It's such an artifact of the time. It was beautiful. It like harkened back to like, you know how we don't get live E3 stuff anymore because we don't get E3 at all anymore. But even at the end there, like everything was pre-produced. And now every Xbox showcase, PlayStation, Ubisoft, everything is pre-made. It's perfect.
Yeah.
And you don't get the stupid moments of awful banter on stage while people stand there and stare down at a TV screen like at the bottom of the stage and play a game in front of you, or at least pretend to. And it just Larian doing silly live shows for Baldur's Gate 3 updates before it came out into full launch was like that. It was wonderful.
You know what? Fuck it.
Let's be alive.
Let's put some of the gamer goo that Andy Chalk wrote about like 5 years ago in there as well.
Goo.
Yeah, let's put some gamer goo in there as well.
What was that? Performance enhancing? Like, I don't know.
It was to like help with your like grip on mice and keyboards, I believe. Yeah. Let's put some gamer goo in there as well. So gamer goo.
If you put the gamer goo in the time capsule, it's getting all over everything else.
It's gonna get
everything
all over.
It's gonna get goo.
It's gonna get all over Sven's fucking armor.
It's
gonna get all over Sven's armor. What are we gonna do about Sven's armor?
It's gonna get all sticky. It's gonna be terrible. I love it. That's a gaming time capsule. Okay, let's recap real quick for the sake of completeness. Molly, what was going in your time capsule? Give me the rundown.
Stardew Valley, and then courtesy of Robin, Tyler, and Kara, the Orange Box, 30 Flights of Loving, and Bramble the Mountain King. I'm putting an MMO mouse in there. I'm putting a Stream Deck in there. I'm putting a PC Gamer demo disc in there. I'm putting the community story about Leroy Jenkins and the community story of the Nier Automata Church secret in there. And then I'm also putting Discord voice recordings in there and a gamer goo.
Beautiful. Okay, my gaming time capsule is going to have Hades in it, the Hades one. It is going to have my whole Steam Deck, apparently, because I cheated.
Your Steam Deck
it's going
specifically.
to have my Steam Deck specifically. I'm going to install more things.
I hope those future gamers love Yakuza.
That's not on my Steam Deck. I want to play that on this screen. It's going to have a pink Razer Huntsman from the Razer Quartz line. Not an ad, sorry. It's going to have the cozy gaming trend itself. I don't even have a Razer anymore. And it's going to have the entire Dark Souls speedrunning community and all the weird things they've ever discovered. And it's also going to have Swen Larian, Mr. Baldur's Gate 3's armor in it.
Oh my god.
That's my gaming time capsule.
I love it. Yeah. I feel like you should have to put the armor on to look at the rest of the time capsule. I think when you open the box, it should say Leroy Jenkins. Like, as you open it, you know, like
Leroy Jenkins.
Yeah, you know when you like open like a birthday card sometimes and it has one of those little like voice things in it. I think we should do that for the time capsule, and it says Leroy Jenkins when it opens, and then you have
this is like a ritualistic experience. And now you will don the sacred garments. Now you can view the rest of the time capsule.
You have to
pick up the Steam Deck.
You have to don the armor. Gamer goo your hands and then pick up the Steam Deck.
No, don't goo your hands. Don't do it. Beautiful. This was a great idea. Thanks for making me put together a time capsule, Molly.
I had fun.
Yeah, so you can always find, we've referenced several different things that Molly and I have written or other teammates have written during this chat. You can find all of our usual news, reviews, guides, opinions, all that great stuff on pcgamer.com as always. And you will be able to talk with Molly and I about this week's episode at forums.pcgamer.com. Thanks, Molly.
Thank you. Let us know what you want in your time capsule as well.
Yes, that too.
Yeah. Okay, bye.